skywards for one of the files in today's programme to a UFO sighting in Bow, East London. Exclusive video footage of the craft coming up later. Also, we pay a visit to the historic inn in Blackmore, where the ghost of Jonathan Mason, an 18th century gentleman, haunts the landlord's bedroom. And is the spirit of a horse dealer killed in a tragic accident in 1945 still in the stables? Remember, if it's weird, if it's paranormal, if it's supernatural, it's in the Y-Files. Hello and welcome. Two very different files in the programme today: an unidentified flying object and a coaching inn with no less than 3 ghosts. We pay a visit in part 2. First, Bromley by Bow in London was the scene in early September of a UFO sighting. A sighting that was caught on video. A family day out turned into an out-of-this-world experience. Now we open the file of that sighting and show for the first time the video evidence of the Bow UFO.
I formed the London UFO Studies back in 1990. I've been dealing with this subject, the UFO phenomenon, now for the last 44 years, and I do take it very seriously indeed. Over the years, we've had so many reports of UFOs seen over London that we've never ever actually seen any film footage. But recently, we've been very happy to receive. That's the right word, happy, because I got so excited. I received a phone call from a gentleman named Chris.
I live in Bromley by Bow in East London. I'm a musician, play the guitar. Basically, this all started on the 31st of May this year. I had my first sighting this year. I was with a friend of mine and my daughter. We were in the back garden of his house, and I saw this cylindrical silver object high up in the sky. It was totally clear, and I called out to my friend. He came out and saw it. My daughter saw it, and it just slowly ascended up into the sky. It was visible for about 10 minutes, and that was the first sighting this year. Since then I've recorded 10 sightings. They've varied from mainly silver discs that just hover in the sky. No kind of winged rotor blades or anything. I've also seen a black triangular object which was in a sort of tumbling motion. It was hovering. I've managed to take a few photographs which have been reasonably clear. I haven't got a telephoto lens, so you can't really discern too much. Mm-hmm. All this changed about a month ago. I borrowed a camcorder. I was out in the park, 3 Mills Park, which is just around the corner from where I live. And first day I went out, I was sunbathing. No less than 3 discs appeared, and I totally freaked out when I saw it. Obviously, I thought, God, got the camera out, zoomed in, and this footage is I think it's astounding. It shows 3 discs in formation, hovering, unaided. They're not balloons.
This is the first time we've actually had video footage of unidentified flying objects over the London area on video. We've had photographs, most of them have been proved hoax and faked and whatever, but this footage, it only lasts for about a minute or so, but it was really very interesting. We ruled out conventional aircraft. Military aircraft, I'm still a little bit wary. Whether these are secret government aircraft, they're flying something up there, I don't know, but I've got my doubts. These things are about. I'm not saying that this is military stuff, but these things were just stationary, and they were in the sky, just there all the time. So what are they? Let's have another look.
This footage I managed to capture on videotape. I've had it analysed by a defence chief from NORAD, and they're sort of basically keep track of what's in our skies. Basically, you know, they should know everything that's visible in our airspace. And the guys could make head nor tail of it. He stated that they're not anything terrestrial, and I think that speaks volumes, really. The reaction I get when I tell people about my experiences is pretty mixed. On one hand, you get people that are afraid and they don't want to talk about it. They'll listen and they'll change the subject. Other people will just openly say, well, I don't believe you, you must have you're imagining things. Flatly refuse. It just goes beyond their belief systems. And there's others I feel that genuinely are interested and they'll ask questions and want to know more. And I've learned to sort of pick up on people's reactions. If I get a negative sort of feedback, I'll change the subject. But if they're receptive, I'll talk. It's no coincidence I'm seeing these discs. I believe I'm being allowed to film these objects primarily to tell others and to increase public awareness. I don't think it's just coincidence I've seen 10 discs in 2.5 months. I think it's being orchestrated by some extraterrestrial intelligence. That sounds very difficult to believe, but that's what I honestly think is going on.
Perhaps now everybody's going to look up and actually get their chemicals out. Take notice of what's going on up in the skies. It's very important. Don't be afraid. If you see something, report it to your UFO group in your area. It doesn't have to be in London, it could be anywhere in England.
The Bow UFO, is it possible that the occupants of alien craft choose the people who observe them? It certainly seems from the last file that an awareness of their existence leads to a rash of sightings. Is it because he became more aware and therefore noticed the UFOs, or has he come to the attention of an alien race who are keeping an eye on him? An intriguing thought. Well, Kenneth Parsons from Beams, that's the British Earth and Aerial Mystery Society, joins me to discuss the possibilities. Kenneth, welcome to the Y-Files. We do hear stories sometimes of two people standing side by side. One very clearly sees a UFO, another person can't see a thing. Does that mean that these are somehow spiritual UFOs, that they're not actually solid, maybe?
Sometimes there's a certain psychical aspect to the UFO sightings. As you say, sometimes a person will see the objects and perhaps their friends are standing right beside them, they won't see anything
right.
at all. You know?
So does that mean that the one person is more psychic, or does that mean that whatever's in that craft only wants certain people to see them?
It depends. Perhaps the percipient of the event is more sensitive to perhaps whatever is being put out by this object.
Right.
Now, I don't like actually calling them craft. They might actually be some sort of energy field or a force, whatever you want to call them, and they might exert some sort of psychic influence over the percipients of the event. You know.
Now, we always assume that UFOs are travelling from other planets. Could they perhaps also be travelling from other dimensions?
That's possible, yes. I've often considered that they might be interdimensional, and there might be several different types of craft. There might be extraterrestrial visitors, you might have interdimensional, and you might have something that is actually connected with the planet itself, geophysical phenomena.
Right.
Balls of light, that type of thing.
So lots of possibilities.
Yes.
Now, we know, I mean, we hear stories of some people who have been abducted, and there are those who say that they've already made a choice to do that, perhaps in a spiritual way in a former life, or they've already made some sort of connection with an alien race even before they're born. Do you think in the same way people who see UFOs see them purely by chance, or is there more to it, do you think?
Well, we're not really sure about that, but there does seem, as I say, seems to be some sort of pattern taking place in a lot of these so-called abduction cases. Some of them actually might be taking place in the person's mind, more of a mental event, whether it's not actual physical abduction.
Right.
But we're not quite sure about that. We're still looking into all that stuff. Yeah.
And of course, there are sightings which are witnessed by literally thousands of people, like the ones in Mexico, which very clearly are solid objects.
That's right. As I say, perhaps sometimes thousands of people could see these objects, and other times it just seems to be there's an appearance, perhaps just for one person, and it's in a very isolated location.
Thanks very much indeed. Well, interesting enough, Christopher did write to the Ministry of Defence about his UFO sighting, and Here's the letter he got back. Now, the Ministry of Defence don't refer to the video footage at all in the letter. They do say that no military aircraft were around at the time, and they suggest he writes to the city airport to see whether any commercial airlines were perhaps flying. We'll keep you posted if we hear any more on this fascinating London UFO sighting. Well, still to come, we visit the Leather Bottle in Blackmore to investigate the spirits that haunt this Essex pub, one with a mischievous streak.